everybody, Tom from PC Gamer here with Greg from Supergiant Games to talk about Pyre. This is kind of a surprise game. You guys announced it just before PAX, and now it's here and playable. Yep. Can you tell me a little bit about the game?
Yeah, this is our third game as a studio. We are Supergiant Games. We've previously made Bastion and Transistor, and in this game you lead a band of exiles to freedom through a series of ancient competitions as you kind of travel across this vast and mystical purgatory. That's kind of what we started to get at in the trailer that we released earlier this week, just I guess technically last week on Tuesday, now that it's Sunday here at PAX. And now, yeah, as you said, we have it here for folks to check out and see what it's really all about.
And it's a pretty big departure from what Bastion and Transistor were. When I was playing it, it almost felt like Oregon Trail mixed with like a sports game.
That's an interesting way of looking at it. Yeah, we like for players to kind of discover what the nature of the gameplay really is. It is a departure for us for sure. Each new game we've made, we've tried to push ourselves kind of out of our comfort zone creatively and just make something that felt new and fresh to us, and hopefully that experience translates to players as well. And in this particular case, we really like the idea of making a game like with an ensemble cast, a larger cast of characters than what we've been able to do in the past, and have this sort of almost like a fantasy road trip like experience where they have to travel together, kind of bond with each other and with you, the player, and then get to these high stakes competitions where they have a lot riding on the line, and then sometimes they win, sometimes they lose, but they have to pick themselves up and dust themselves off and find a way to keep going. And just we really liked a lot of the implications of that kind of game, so that's what we have here.
And so when you're actually in these matches, these battles that they have to do, you're trying to get a ball into the other person's pyre. There's this large, beautiful flame on the other side of the match. Can you just tell me talk a little bit about like what the inspiration was for that, why you guys decided to depart from straight up combat?
Yeah, so it kind of stems from what I was saying just now about this idea of an ensemble cast. Like, we wanted to create a game where a group of characters comes to rely on one another. They really need each other in the situation that they're in. They have a lot at stake personally. They have personal goals that they want to accomplish, but they can't do it on their own. They need each other, and they need you as well. So as we were thinking about what that meant, it started to evolve into this sense of like a teamwork and camaraderie. And it was really important to us actually to have, although the stakes are high for these characters, it's not that they're at risk of like dying in the middle of one of these competitions, because death in games is met with restarting and trying again. Like, death is typically not a significant consequence in a game of any sort. It just means you failed and you try again. Whereas in this game, we wanted what's at stake for these characters to be something other than that. It's like a eternal purgatory, right? It's a fate potentially worse than death.
And can you real quickly talk about a little bit about outside of those matches, because the game had a lot of dialogue, a lot of reading, and also choices you could make, where you could you know, a character came up and asked me like, hey, do you like my mustache? And then my decision of whether I liked his mustache influenced both what he looked like and then what his stats were in the next match.
Yeah, that's cool that you, and that moment is entirely optional, and half the players, or probably more than half the players going through what we have here at PAX are probably not even having that particular experience. We do want to fill the game with these kind of optional moments that are very personal to the player's own experience based on the decisions that they're making through this world. Narrative has always been important to us in our games. We want the narrative to kind of help create the atmosphere and the world of the game, and help make the experience feel meaningful. And in this case, it means having some time to get to meet these various characters and travel with them and realize that what you say, like kind of how you act with them, can have an impact on them, both in the short term and in the long term.
And when can people expect to get their hands on Pyre?
Pyre should be available sometime next year for, yeah, it'll be out on Steam.
Great, thanks very much for talking with me, and stay tuned at PCGamer.com for more from PAX East.